Good morning, Mr. Chess. How was the weekend? Yeah, Baba. There's a new week and a new challenge as well. We just hope that the market can give us what we want. We don't need to force it. Just wait for the right opportunity and try to take the trade. I'm trying to see what is going to happen with this Euro USD. I already mark up my plan actually on this Euro USD. I'm waiting over here to see if he's going to give me any retracement candle to go back up. But if it's not, I'm waiting on this zone that I draw here. In this zone, that's what I'll be looking for buy. Yeah, it's really slow. It's gonna be another slow week. So that's why I'm trying to like to go more on a little bit of a 15 minutes time frame to look for the entry. Because if I have to stay on the 1 hour, yeah, I don't know how it's gonna be. Trying to go more on 50, 30 minutes, 15 minutes now to look for trade. But I try to analyze the chart more on the 1 hour. Then I go. Why it's not good to rush the trade and just to wait and see. I was expecting this place. I'm gonna get a candlestick on this demand that was here. But look at what happened. The demand went away. I mean, the supply here. So it's weak. So I'm expecting here now. This place is really weak. I'm not going to do anything. I have to wait. If not. Bit rate is low. Bit rate is low. 128. I mean, it's, USD, Canadian dollar is getting stronger. USD CAD, USD Chef, USD Yen, they're all getting stronger. Seeing this every drop on euros. Yeah. See, they're pushing up. Wow. Let's see. I need to wait for retracement here. If I can get a retracement from here, this would be nice.
Artificial intelligence has the power to transform the most complex organization in the world, delivering medical supplies where they're needed, keeping our armed forces at the ready, safer energy. Well, thanks to
and that only happens later in the week.
We saw headlines in the Times saying that Merkel and Macron were going to soften their stance on the level playing field. That sounds very un-Macron, to be honest. But we, even with the strength, only see the euro buying 91 pence right now. How painful would a hard Brexit be for the EU? I mean, how much do they really worry about?
Well, look, how much do they care? That's a good question, because if you ask European diplomats today and on Monday, how much do you worry about Brexit? They tell you we worry a lot, but we also have a big decision coming up from the European Central Bank, and we also have our own big internal clash happening with Viktor Orban and the Polish too on that front. So if you're Spanish or Italian, you really care about that, and perhaps not so much Brexit. How much do you care overall? Clearly, they would tell you it's better to leave with a deal that does provide a smooth relationship going forward, especially in the context of a lot of the uncertainty that is coming through coronavirus. If you ask someone in France, Belgium, the Dutch, do you care about fishing? Is that a big thing? They'll tell you it really is, because it could be very problematic for those industries going forward. And again, are they ready? They'll tell you yes, they are. Are they really in practice? Where we're talking about 2 weeks to step up no deal preparations. We're talking about very much little time, few time to get ready for a no deal. So I guess if you ask them, do you want a deal, they'll tell you, well, we probably do want to get one just to avoid uncertainty.
Maria, thanks very much. Bloomberg's Maria Tadeo joining us there from Brussels. We'll continue to keep across, of course, the latest lines coming out of Brussels and London with regards to Brexit. Up next, the positioning around Brexit. Goldman Sachs strategists are telling investors to start a buying spree of abandoned UK assets. More on the markets.
Welcome back to Bloomberg Market. Welcome back to Bloomberg Markets. This is the European Open right now, 40 minutes into the session, and we're looking at a big drop in the pound. You can see here right now down more than 1% to $1.3286. You're seeing the FTSE now turn down to join the currency, trading down about a third of 1%, and the 10-year yield is also falling down below 30 basis points as traders continue to be concerned about the state of Brexit negotiation. Let's get the Bloomberg Business Flash, but then we go right in London. Laura?
I'm fine.
Thanks, Matt. Goldman Sachs is weighing plans for a new Florida base for one of its key divisions. Executives are said to
Welcome back to the European Market Open. 53 minutes into a trading session that shows UK assets under pressure, certainly the case for a currency. The FTSE 100 didn't last long. Now, as coming to the downside, down 0.2%, the pound down by 1.3% this morning. Also a bit of movement on gilts to keep an eye on. Joining us now is Eddie van der Walt, Markets Live editor. And just these latest lines on Brexit keep on coming. Don't get any time from the Irish, who've been pretty for a lot of last week. Brexit deal certainly look very difficult at the moment. The EU talking about Thursday as a deadline. The UK side, though, saying that they really need progress today. And that's news flow, if you like. How is this expected to stick to assets as a whole? What kind of commentary are you getting on the market side?
Look at it drop.
The Irish Foreign Minister saying that 97 of the trade negotiations done. That's for him to now sound more cautious. And I think assets across the board will move on this. The pound is particularly volatile, but the pound in turn moves the dollar, the broad dollar in, and the dollar moves itself. Gold drop on this morning. And then across commodity markets, there are pockets with and of course equity and stocks and so on. I think there's quite broad risk on the table.
Yeah, even Bitcoin moved on this. We were up to $19,430. And when we're back down now on Bitcoin, gold, as well as you mentioned, down to 1828. In fact, most commodities are down as the dollar index moves higher. What do you expect from the dollar index if there's no deal? Obviously, it hits the pound hard. Does that continue? BBDXY?
Yeah, I think so. I think the assumption here is that the assumption has for a long time been that the way that it works, clutch talks up to the last minute, up to and as the clock strikes, we start with a push through. And I think people are just starting to question that now. And we're talking about, and talks don't continue. All of that, I think, yes, the pound will as a result of that, and therefore the spot index pushes higher, feeds to dollar up to rather feeds through the gold and to the result.
Eddie, thanks so much. Yeah, so through the dollar, all kinds of other assets become involved. Thanks so much for joining us, Eddie van der Walt, Markets Live editor. That is it for the European Market Open. Stay with Bloomberg.
Announcing some reports Boris Johnson is supposed to pulling out of Brexit talks. Michel Barnier says not close yet. Rollout begins. Coronavirus vaccines begin tomorrow. The UK may follow suit by the end of the week. FDA as infections hit an all-time high. Positive conversation. As chair Axel Weber will talk the future of banking, and of course we'll talk about the pandemic. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to Bloomberg Surveillance. I'm Francine Lacquay here in London. Now, first thing is, let's check quickly on the markets. Now, if you look at the markets, a lot of them are looking at some of the concerning, really, that Brexit is not going the way that certain markets were hoping. You see the stocks Europe down some 7%, and I'm looking firmly at pound. See any kind of swing on that? You can see 130, and then euro sterling 91.29. Now let's get straight to the and Garrett. Hi, Leanne.
Good morning, Francine. A British official says Brexit talks need to show progress by tonight if they are to continue. European negotiator Michel Barnier, meanwhile, is said to have denied any breakthrough on the issue of fishing rights. Prime Minister Boris Johnson is speak with Commission President Ursula von der Leyen this to discuss the state of play. President Donald Trump says personal lawyer Rudy Giuliani has tested positive for coronavirus. The New York Times says a 76-year-old was admitted to hospital yesterday. The president wished him well in a tweet, saying, "We'll carry on," while Giuliani's son tweeted that his father is getting great care and is feeling well. The US is said to be ready to sanction more Chinese officials over their role in the qualification of Hong Kong allegedly. According to people familiar with the plans, the latest round of sanctions rolled out as soon as today, with as many as 14 people reported to be affected. And Joe Biden has picked Javier Becerra as his Health and Human Services Secretary. The California Attorney General will lead efforts to curb the coronavirus pandemic and to strengthen the Affordable Care Act. President-elect's priorities in tackling the virus will likely include expanding testing, improving access to PPE, and distributing a vaccine. If confirmed, Becerra would be the first elite head US health aid. Goldman Sachs is weighing plans for a new Florida base for one of its key positions. Executives are said to be scouting office locations south of the state with a view to relocating its asset management arm. If confirmed, the move will be a blow to stature as the home of the US financial services industry. Global news 24 hours a day on air and at Bloomberg Quick Take, powered by more than 2,700 journalists and analysts, more than 120 countries. I'm Leanne Gerrans. This is Bloomberg Fancy.
And thanks so much. Now, let's get the latest on the pandemic and the global economy. Virus numbers continue to rise, with President Trump saying his body has tested positive. Now, the administration says all Americans who want a vaccine should have one by the middle of the year, as several states set infection records. While the UK is set to start rolling out the vaccine tomorrow, so light at the end of the tunnel, and what does it mean for markets, for the banking sector? Joining us now for an exclusive conversation, Chairman of UBS, Axel Weber. Axel, as always, thank you so much for giving a little bit of time to Bloomberg. First of all, when you see the vaccine and how quickly you got to a vaccine, you probably have 3 viable vaccines right now. What does it mean for the economy? Are we going to boost from the vaccine, or is it just that the scarring that we could have expected will be tempered somewhat?
I think it's a bit of Francine. Thank you for having me. We just made a forecast and we've actually turned our optimistic scenario into our main scenario. So it shows you most of the forecasts are heading into a direction. But I'm continuously warning that what's the outlook somewhat better. Not get out of this very, very quickly. We expect close to sometime during 2021 economies, which means two vaccines shown effective plus that comes from those covered is going to help us come down to very low numbers of cases, and that's going to economy expect a strong rebound. Of course, it depends on other things. For example, it depends on the size of the package. Expecting size package around 481 trillion talked about. So there are signs in those directions, but this will take a long time for the next year. some of the major economies will back to pre-crisis levels. And it will be long haul crisis goes fast and for unemployment to come down. So no.
What is it for the kind of rebound that we'll get? Can it actually be sooner than expected and a rebound? And what does that mean for markets? Have they gotten ahead of themselves?
Well, I think markets are pricing in the end point of the trajectory that would expect a pretty strong rebound, basically. Expect just under 4% growth, 3.9% in 2021 and 0.8% in 2022. But the point is, an average projection, there's many upsides and many downsides around these projections. At the moment, not sufficient to pass along. Think in scenarios, it could be a whole rollout of the vaccine or the production is delayed as accepted population for vaccination. So there are many unknowns that go in, and I'm warning, focusing much on your average projection, think in scenarios, and there is a downside, particular around divided or sort of democratic Sweden or the divided planet, and that will have implications for the course of this policy. So many unknowns still, and
Wait, hold on, Lee. So,
But, I said early on, you may remember, I may have asked me the question, it may be mistaken. But I said early on that I think one of the things that bothers me the most is by the wild assertions the administration was making about how this was going to go away, inject bleach and all those kinds of things. Machine confidence across the board. And the American people overall, but particularly this administration with the African American Latino community. What I hear from my friends, not but blocks from here, stand is that we're not going to be the. We're not going to be the. Well, the fact of the matter is that they won't be. You see tens of millions of Americans taking the vaccine, and you see the President of the United States and three of the former presidents doing it publicly. It's all about, and look, it's going to take some effort to rebuild confidence in science. It's been so diminished in this administration this far. So, but I will, and by the way, in the meantime, I got to make sure that the vaccine is both free and available, and that any follow-up on the vaccine is free and available, relates to the health complications from it. So there's ways we can deal with some of these issues. Biden has good health care. Therefore, but I don't have good health. That's another thing we're working on from day one. I'm working on it at this moment. So my hope is that we can reinstill some confidence in the able to believe the President of the United States, he or she speaks.
Enterprise artificial intelligence has the power to transform the most complex organizations in the world, delivering medical supplies where they're needed, keeping our armed forces at the ready. Safer energy, all things one prediction. AI is AI at a global scale, harnessing the power of data to build a C3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
My name is Dr. Anthony Fauci, and I'm the director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the National Institute of Health. Well, the accomplishment this year, which has been an extraordinarily challenging year by any stretch of the imagination, was the work that my institute did in the contribution to the development of a successful vaccine, actually more than one vaccine for COVID-19. The original component of the vaccine that is being used by virtually all the companies, the spike protein of the novel coronavirus, the configuration in which it's used in the vaccine was developed by scientists in my institute that I direct. So we feel very good about that. I mean, there's still a lot more challenges, but that's something that I think is a very important contribution. Everyone worked together. It was a team that did it. It was not any person, but it's been a very important contribution. The optimism for 2021 is based on the fact that we will have and do have vaccines that are highly effective against the SARS-CoV-2, and that although we are in the depths of a very, very challenging period right now with cases soaring, we feel that as we go into 2021, a combination of the vaccine itself, as well as the implementation of public health measures, is something that we feel ultimately and hopefully quickly will put an end to this pandemic. The thing that I'm most pessimistic about, and I'm not naturally a pessimistic person, I'm usually a cautiously optimistic person, but the thing that I would say rather than pessimistic is more concerned about the fact that we're having a major surging of cases in the United States and even globally of COVID-19 to levels that we've not had before. And as we enter the colder months of the late fall and winter, this could get much worse. Well, the year has not necessarily taught me something, but confirmed something that I've known for a long time, and that's been integral to my job as an infectious disease expert and someone involved in global health, is that pandemics have occurred in the past, they're occurring now, and they will continue to occur. And that's the reason why we have to prepare for the next outbreak, which inevitably will occur. And hopefully that lessons learned from this terrible experience we've gone through will help us to be much better prepared for the next challenge of an emerging infectious disease.
Enterprise artificial intelligence has the power to transform the most complex organizations in the world, delivering medical supplies where they're needed, keeping our armed forces at the ready. Safer energy, all things 1 billion predictions. AI is AI at a global scale, harnessing the power of data to build a better future. C3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
How does it look to you? Looks like Friday is right around the corner. This is so incredible, it seems, because, I think many people, if it had happened early in 2021, would have been thrilled. This is better.
Yes, that's true. I mean, there's been a lot of buildup now as sort of a steady drum build up to this crucial week that we're just starting today. The FDA, the Drug Administration, will be on. Mentioned there were very optimistic comments today from Health and Secretary Alex Azar, and also from Malawi drug industry executive head of health administration calling this Operation Warp Speed. They both said certainly looks based on without prejudging the outcome that the Pfizer biotech should be good to go. That's where we stand right now as far as the U.S. goes. That's tempered, of course, by the very high number of cases and that have been shadowing a lot of
optimism.
Enterprise artificial intelligence has the power to transform the most complex organizations in the world, delivering medical supplies where they're needed, keeping our armed forces at the ready. Safer energy, all thanks to quantitative predictions per day. AI is AI at a global scale, harnessing the power of data to build a better future. C3.ai. This is Enterprise AI.
The first country in the West to approve a vaccine was earlier this year. There were questions from Dr. Fauci of the U.S. whether they had been too quick. Your thoughts? That was a little bit walked down afterwards, but your thoughts on that?
Yeah, the data that was submitted to the UK and to the United States FDA are essentially the same sets of data. There was one mitigating factor. I think the FDA wanted to hear the US CDC's recommendations for high priority groups for vaccinations. That meeting was scheduled this week and happened, and that's where we get the US recommendations that healthcare workers and residents communities for the elderly are the high priorities. So the FDA was waiting for that CDC note. They're looking at the same data as the UK, and not that I have a crystal ball, but I imagine that we'll see the same recommendation that the vaccination go forward with Pfizer once the FDA goes through their packet of information.
And how quickly then could we see approval in the U.S.? And does a couple of difference actually matter?
The logistics of vaccination are the critical things. Everybody is now organized and set to receive these first batches of the vaccines. It seems like the trucks have their engines on and are all loaded up and just waiting for that FDA approval to happen. So you imagine here in the US that there will be immediately shipments of vaccine to centralized areas that are going to begin their vaccination programs in those high priority groups. Those groups have already been prepared for this. Most of them are medical centers who are used to vaccinating their workers. So plans have all been put in place. Priority groups have been put in place for the logistics of rolling out who gets the vaccine and when. And of course, to plan the initial doses versus the booster doses. Because 4 weeks from now, we're going to have twice as many people lining up for vaccines because we're going to have people lining up for the initial dose as well as their booster. And all that takes a lot of planning and organization.
Andrew, we also need to talk a little bit about, of course, the self-isolation period. So the guidelines around that have changed. So we've shortened the amount of time. Is it because there's new information about how long it takes to get infected, or is it just to counter quarantine or isolation?
Well, hopefully it accomplishes both. A lot of data that's come out over the last 6 months has really pointed to sort of the first 7 days after an exposure as being the most critical time that you can spread the virus. If you're not showing symptoms, if you've got a negative test during that period of time, it doesn't seem like 14 days buys us much more in terms of protection from transmission. So the guidelines now are really taking into account, do you have a negative test? Are you showing any symptoms? And if you have a negative test or you're not showing symptoms, then the isolation period is going down to 10 days. One hopes that that will help relieve some of this pandemic fatigue. One also hopes that it'll increase compliance, because with a shorter period of time that you can self-isolate, people may be more willing to do that, and therefore we'll still be accomplishing our goal, which is minimizing transmission while trying to also minimize the burden that people have in terms of their self-isolation and their inability to work and so on and so forth.
这是一个全新的领域，我们真的是在摸索。
我的角色是培养好我们每一个演员，
都得用，谁也离不开它。国家是各个小家组成，只有小家好，国家大家好。
My name is Kasim Swissbeats Dean, and I do all things creative.
I'm creation. I'm like, to me, I don't like to say I'm a music producer slash. I think that I'm like Walt Disney. I create.
I think the biggest accomplishment this year I'm proud of is to be able to contribute some light at a very dark moment in our history with my partner Timberland with Versus. And then I'm also happy to accomplish so much valuable time with my family.
I took the word pandemic and turned it to pandemonium. I think the thing that I achieved the most is fighting adversity. And I feel like she threw a lot of adversity at us, and just beating all the odds that people start creating something new.
Challenge that I see is people understanding what's new, what's different. First as a priority, to put first as a focus, what's real, what's fake, because it's been a confusion. 2020.
What got me feeling positive about 2021 is how we all gonna somehow come together, be more unified. You know, at least we know it's on the radar. I'm not saying it's gonna happen, but I feel like if we keep branding it like we kept branding vote, 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 and we saw how valuable that was, like you know, like even if you person, you like, wait a minute, I gotta get my ass up and go. It's right. You know, people died for us to have that right to go. So when you start really like, you know, if we put that same energy into to this word called unify, I think that's gonna happen.
So I think 2021 should bring more clarity. But I think the biggest challenge is people to really focus on getting back on the right track. Guys, not the it's just
start off firstly with what we were generally expecting from Pfizer and this vaccine rollout to begin with.
Yeah, so there's no new numbers in terms of doses. What happened is that Pfizer originally had been saying a number of 100 million seconds per September. More recently, talking about 50 million. None of these numbers are new. And one Wall Street Journal is out. They're still arguing, quoting some anonymous people saying issues involved that delayed it a little bit or some of the doses. But there's no new numbers out there. That's the important thing. And we have not confirmed any of their reporting independently. But the actual numbers of doses that are going to be produced have not changed. The number that we're talking about this year is the same number since November 9th in Pfizer press release. So, exactly what this means just isn't clear yet. And most importantly, the no new numbers out there. The 50 million is what they've been saying for several weeks.
Robert, we love the clarity and the calm that you provide us on days like today. I say this with the utmost respect, of course, that we have for Big Pharma. They are leading this way out and showing us a bright light, and I'm impressed by their ingenuity that they've showed us. With that being said, we've had 9 months to prepare for this. Are we surprised by any supply chain hiccups, or are my expectations high?
Yeah, well, just generally speaking, we're trying to produce an enormous quantity of vaccine in a very, very short period of time, the likes of which has never, been done before. So, and mRNA in particular is, never been an approved product for any type of vaccine or drug, any company anywhere in the world. So this is a new product, and so there are likely to be some hiccups. Some numbers may change a little bit. Pfizer is still planning to produce like 1 billion doses next year. So, none of their kind of stated numbers have changed in the last few weeks. Like there has been some shifting around, like situation, but let's just kind of wait and see. I mean, there's no sign of a major a problem right. I mean, delay things for months. months and months.
And Robert, what has in fact changed is more the speed at which people are ticking off from a regulatory perspective this particular vaccine and how quickly certain countries are going to adopt it. And in the UK, looking to have it in people's arms by next week.
I'm sorry, say that again? What you asked about the UK?
Sorry, we're just
I had there's a little glitch here. What was your question?
Yeah, Robert, I'm just going to quickly ask you, how quickly we're going to get this vaccine to people's arms.
Yes. So, in the United States, UK is talking about some of the first people, I believe, next week. In the United States, there's an advisory panel on December 10th to review it. Potentially could be cleared several days after that. So, yes, definitely, possibly in the US, some additional people could start getting it by mid-December.
Obviously, the sorts of rollouts that we're starting to see begin in the UK, potentially very soon in the US. It's a situation where the benefit outweighs the risk because emergency authorizations for high-risk people, aged care environments, and the such. What questions do you still have before we get a widespread rollout across the broader population?
Well, first of all, it's a great achievement for the scientists at Pfizer and BioNTech and all of the people that have worked to make this happen. This is a record, by far a record, in terms of rolling out a vaccine. And the preliminary data that we've seen, press release, is really very exciting. But there still remains some important questions left. The question about durability. How long will the protection last? Question about will these vaccines protect against death and ventilator dependence? Will they block forward transmission? And finally, how safe are they? I think those are four very important questions. And it will take time to sort out these answers. I think that the trials are set up to do information. And as we go through 2021, I think more and more information will be available. More important.
So obviously, AstraZeneca looking to conduct more trials. It looks like the Pfizer and the Moderna options have the head start at this point. Seth, I'm wondering if you take a look at the mRNA options versus the vector vaccine at this point, is one more superior or effective, I guess, in the longer term, perhaps more adaptable?
Well, the mRNA vaccines are really novel technology, and no mRNA vaccine has ever been approved. So it's very hard to speculate about the features of the immune response that they'll engender. I think that the AstraZeneca and the Johnson & Johnson vaccines are based on adenovirus vectors, and there's some more information about those in the Ebola virus vaccine. So there's some information about those, but we are at a further point along the spectrum with a live virus vaccine, and those historically have engendered the strongest durable immunity. And the prototypical vaccine, the first vaccine, was Edward Jenner's vaccine for smallpox, which he discovered in 1798. And our vaccine is very close to what Edward Jenner was using. It's the most successful vaccine ever. It eradicated smallpox, the only disease ever to be eradicated, and it resulted many years or even decades of immunity, and many people think lifelong immunity. So we're pursuing that, and Merck has 2 live virus vaccines. They're pursuing both of these. So one of the great aspects of the effort going on all over the world is that many different approaches. So I think that in the next few years, we'll have a lot of information about how to protect humanity. And that's important because this virus is not going to go away. We're in a pandemic now. The expectation is pandemic, and it will be something that we'll have to continue as long as we're on Earth.
Seth, you just mentioned that the excitement that so many vaccines have been worked on, they're being rolled out around the world. You also mentioned the question of safety, that people aren't exactly sure when, because in the past, some vaccines did hurt some people, limited numbers, but definitely there's a little risk there. Are other countries transparent enough about their trials, about their results, to trust them? Do you advise your friends, family to say, no, stick with US developed vaccines, forget China, forget Russia, forget other countries?
Well, first, you're correct to point out that not every vaccine is the classic, really frightening example for the RSV vaccine trial from the 1960s, where vaccinated people and infants died at a higher rate than unvaccinated, sham vaccinated. So vaccines are not necessarily protective. That's something that everyone will look very carefully at as we see happening. The next thing generally about safety is that different people are going to have different risks associated with vaccine. So for example, traditionally older people do worse with vaccine, but they need them the most. And younger people, for example, college students, are at relatively low risk of getting sick, but they're also likely to have the best tolerance.
Okay.
Now, getting to other countries, as far as I know, I think the scientific community is pretty similar around the world. So I would have confidence in vaccine developed in another country, but obviously they would, similar to the United States country, publishing their work in a scientific journal. I think for this kind of research, nobody really cut corners. Not take very long for people to find out that the results were not what they were.
I know that you believe that very strongly that there should be a big commitment from the U.S. government, probably from governments around the world, to continue to work not just on the vaccine for this pandemic, but for things that may happen next. What needs to be done? Trump's team had Operation Warp Speed funding. I don't know if your company got any of that, but it does seem like it's been a factor in this race to get a vaccine as fast as you can. What needs to be done now?
That's an excellent question, and it's really a time for the Biden administration to, in my mind, show leadership in vaccine development. Because the United States and other countries are caught unprepared for this, and this will not be the last pandemic. So we and our technologies generally, we need and manufacturing, R&D, and other capabilities. But Warp Speed was a fascinating example of focus. They focused on 8 programs, poured billions of dollars into 8 programs, and got remarkable results. At the same time, they really did not spread around bets even. So our company is not funded by Warp Speed. Matter of fact, our company has not received any government support. But I think one of the things that I hope will emerge is that the United States government and other governments around the world keep multiple bets, smaller bets, on earlier technology. I think the future of COVID vaccine may not be mRNA vaccine. I think we have to look to a day when COVID vaccination is a routine childhood vaccination, much like the MMR is today, mumps, measles, rubella. So I think that for us to get from here to where we are, think of it as a marathon, and we've just run the first mile. It is wonderful that we have hope that,
Seth, I was going to say it's going to be quite a marathon because I want to bring up this chart that shows just the low level of willingness that we see so far. Only 4 countries at this point look like they'll be able to reach that 80% cover needed for herd immunity. You can take a look at the N in France. Barely half of the population surveyed are willing to get the vaccine. So if we don't get that high level of take-up, where does that leave the world with the virus?
Well, it's very unfortunate to hear and see about vaccine hesitancy. Hopefully, information and education will change that. But there is a point at which governments have the authority to compel vaccination in order for people to attend school or for to work in certain places. But I think that it's probably too early what we know about these vaccines, ones that are under review, to start compelling people. Appropriate point, I think may come down to that, because vaccination is very important, not just for the people who are getting vaccinated, but for public health generally. Because vaccination with appropriate vaccine can make people less contagious. And that's one of the most important functions it can serve. Kind of like in a forest fire analogy, wetting down the forest.
Whoa. Oh man. Breaking the structure. And I have to go for train continuation then. Wow. Damn. There's a challenge. This one. Today is just to look around, just watch and see. No trade. No trade. But there's no trade today, oh, just to watch and see. Hey, Bright. Good morning. Good afternoon. I don't have much trade planned for today because the market is not as slow today with the breakfast. But let's see. Yeah, I'm just looking around. Remember, Monday is always slow. But I already look at the trade I wanted to take today, but it's not going as planned, and mostly they went out of my way. Like the Aussie, I was planning to take the Aussie. That was my plan here to take it when it retests this place to try to take it back up. But you can see the drop because US was strong, so Aussie was weak. So right now I have no idea. I'm not looking at anything. I'm just looking around and see if I'll have any opportunity. But if not, I will just wait till tomorrow to see what is going to happen. Looking left on this one, he already broke it, so I have nothing to do. I'm waiting maybe if you come down here, but I don't want to just force anything. Just want to stick with the plan. And another trade I was looking at is also the Euro Yen. Yeah, I was also looking at this Euro Yen, waiting to see if I will get any opportunity around here. around the demand. And Euro USD also almost similar to that. So those are the two. I think the three trade I'm looking at. You see, I already draw my zone. I'm waiting. It already tapped the zone. They went back up. So I don't know what he's gonna do. If he's gonna come, if he come back in the zone and give me a candlestick that shows us want to go back up, then I can trade it. Then maybe I have to move down to 15 minutes time because 1 hour the distance is slow now. So maybe I will use more 15 minutes time to enter the trade. I use 1 hour to just do like the higher time frame. You see what I mean by in the 15 minutes? It's already giving the candle a bullish candle right here. I will let this candle close. When this candle close, then I can come in. Let me prepare myself because the candle is gonna close in the next 48 seconds. Three, two, one.
Order film.
Just gonna go. Let's say 15. Right here. That's my stop loss. Just to see how it's gonna be. No, I did not take the Aussie. I did not take the Aussie at all. I don't want to take this. I didn't take the Aussie down, and I don't want to even take it right now because my stop loss will be really too big, and I don't want the stop loss to be really too big. So that's why I'm not gonna take the Aussie. If I have to take the Aussie, I will wait for a pullback more into this place. I can get more pullback in here, then I can try to take maybe a target back the low or a trend continuation back to this place. Then I can target this place because right now, I'm not. Because if I have to take it, where am I going to put my stop loss? How many pips did I want to like chase from here to back here. Yeah, 18 pips from there. Yeah, and the trade will not take me in here right now. It want to take me somewhere here. So now I'll be looking for, let's say, roughly 15, 12 pips down. So I need more for it to go up if I want to take the Aussie here. It's just the Brexit that makes that makes more movement today. When looking at all the GBP pairs, is just really down. Look at the move. See, see this move. This sharp move is this morning move. See 9 o'clock, 9:15. There was a drop for 9:15, and there was a drop of See, now he's trying to push back up, but we see. Just have to wait and see. My lovely peer, AUD, the same thing. See AUD on the 15 minutes chat. Just drop. Wow, this is a stronger demand. Whoa. So when was this touch? Which day was that? October. 1st of October last year. Was this low? There was a first low. 1st of October. So, 540. Oh yeah, 1st of October, yeah, 5:15. And this was 2nd of October. That was the second low. Roughly, let's say 12:15. And since then, it has not reached the low till now. Till now, that is touching this low. Yeah, if I have to take this trade on the 15 minutes, this is my, they will be my plan. I'll wait for it to try to shoot up somewhere here and to take it back down. Maybe my stop loss will be somewhere here. This high. That will be my plan for this GBP AUD. I'm not gonna stay long on the stream today. I'm not gonna maybe probably in the next 15 minutes I'll be out. But there's not much movement and everything is slowing down again. The movement has happened in the morning. Come on. Just in the cage. Doesn't your USD show the top like right on the 15 minutes? Euro USD on the 15 minutes. Yeah, if you look at it that way, yeah. Oh, come on. You mean this one? Is that what you're referring to, right? Yeah, it already showed the three leg. That's what I'm taking. I'm using this to take it back up here. Cause see, this is my first TP. Anything inside here will be my first TP. If it's gonna push more up, then I mean, if not, I'll take this. Then I'll move my stop loss down there. Then I'll be looking if it's gonna reverse from here or not. But all I'm looking at is just to take it back up into that. That is the zone. That's my key zone. So anything from here will be what I want to get first. So if you push more up, I'll still go. But if you decide you want to go down, then I'm out. But before then, I already get something small from it. I look at the three legs to down. Yeah, three moves. Okay, take it back up because look here. People that was here before, I take it all the way up. I take some of their profit and come down, and they want to buy it again cheaper, so they can come in back in here to buy it cheap here. When they decide to buy it cheap, what happen? They're gonna push it more up. And look at the candle. What the candle is telling me on the 15 minutes is showing more bullish trend. So I want to go with this bullish trend that is showing me. Yeah, it can decide to go down. That's why I make my stop loss really tight. To just be under this zone. So just this zone to this zone. That's where my stop loss is. I didn't make big stop loss. So if you decide no, I'm not going up because look, this is another leg here. If you look very good, you see another three moves. Yeah, this one, and they pull back. There's a small pullback, and they sit. So this can also be a little trade. So whoever is taking from here, want to take trend continuation from here also, the person is right. Because this is a three leg. So I'm going with a big move. I want it to go up. Today is Monday. Everything is so roster. You know, so chill. So I want to try to take it back up and we'll see if that's my plan. I don't use much of the indicator and I only use RSI. But looking at the RSI, even on this Euro Yen, you see this, it want to push up. I don't rely my trade actually on RSI. I just look at it sometimes to see oversold, overbought, and to see the nice opportunity that is coming. Maybe there's any diversion, hidden diversion on the trade. One minute, guys. I need to use the restroom. Bright, what do you mean from the mic? Between the the epic that comes when you speak. Yeah, it could be from the mic. I try to hide the gain. Because if I bring, I don't know if when the gain is down, maybe sound okay. I don't know. That's why I bring the gain a little bit more up. Oh, there's a noise. Okay, I'm gonna bring the gain down. Let me pause the music. I don't know if you guys are hearing the music also. But how does it sound now? Oh, I'm playing music actually, but it might not sound out. It might not come out, but I'm playing music. Well, I've gotten a lot of copyright warning from YouTube. So, but I know the kind of music I can play. Because YouTube have some music that you can play that they have license to, like the one I'm playing now. So I'm not getting any one yet from them. So, but how is the voice now? Does it sound better? More noise. Oh, okay. Now there is no more noise. Okay, I reduce the gain. That's one. I think the Euro USD is going as planned. Maybe this is gonna be the only trade for today. What happened to my chats? My chat just disappear on me. Okay, I need to. What? Very funny. It just disappear on me. Did I push anything? Okay, I know what I'm gonna do. really don't know what happened to that chat. It just disappeared. Man. Well, guys, I think I need to stop the stream right now. If you're on the Euro USD, please watch it very good. Just keep your eyes on it, and because the market is just doing yo-yo, like I used to say. Right now, it's going up, it's going down. Remember, we have target for the Euro USD. So right now we're on, I believe, 13 pips up on Euro USD, or 14, yeah, 14 pips up. Yeah, 12 pips. You see, it's fluctuating. See, I will keep my eyes on it myself, but behind, because I have a lot of phone calls I need to answer today. So I cannot be long on the stream for today. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Please take care of yourself and stay safe. See you tomorrow, same time. Okay.